And welcome once again to another edition of Real Talk. Friday, November 24th, 10:04 p.m. on 92.5 WLSD, The Vault, AM 1220. And we're diving in tonight to a very recent film that's currently in theaters now. It's a movie called Thanksgiving, directed by Eli Roth. And it's a festive film that I don't think you should take your family, but possibly, depending on what kind of family traditions you may have. But I do hope that everyone has had a wonderful Thanksgiving season. And they're going to go out to the multiplex, the theater, go here to Norton, Virginia, or Kingsport, or Bristol, or Cinema, wherever you may go. And go check out this movie, Thanksgiving. But before you do that, please go to all of our social media pages: Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, Spotify, and Instagram. The Other People Show. You can catch Real Talk, The Dark Place, and The Other People Show. There's over a couple hundred, so yeah, go there and please check that out. But tonight we're going to dive into I'm thinking of a horror comeback for director Eli Roth. I'm not sure how many people out there listening are familiar with his work, but he has made quite a few horror movies over the last couple of years, almost 20 years now. And he is the director of this feast that is Thanksgiving, the movie. So, a little bit about Thanksgiving. After a Black Friday riot ends in tragedy, a mysterious Thanksgiving-themed killer terrorizes Plymouth, Massachusetts. That is the basic premise of Thanksgiving. After a horrible, horrible opening scene, and there are going to be spoiler alerts because this movie is just in theaters. I saw it last Friday. Lana and I went to see it. A semi-packed house. We laughed at a couple of inappropriate spots, but I went and watched it again earlier today at the 4 o'clock showing. So it's fresh in my mind once again, and I do think this is a movie that it's a fun movie. It's a fun movie that you should go to the theater and support the theatrical experience with an audience to see if they laugh or jump or scream at the same time that you do. That's a little bit part of the fun. So that's what I think. I mean, watching at home is fun. I watched a lot of movies by myself in the theater like I did today. I mean, I wasn't the only one there, but I think I was. I think one other person was by themselves, and I was by myself. A couple people behind me. Matinee show. Fun experience once again, but I do recommend going to see all the movies that you can in the movie theater for just the experience. But back to Thanksgiving. So director Eli Roth, he's not had a movie out in quite some time. He's kind of been working on I forget the game, but there's a Borderlands, I think is the game that the movie adaptation of the game he's been working on. He had to stop going back and reshooting a little bit of Borderlands in order to work on Thanksgiving. And Thanksgiving, if you go and reach far back, Thanksgiving was a movie, a fake movie trailer, let me say, from the Grindhouse series that was Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino back in 2007. Robert Rodriguez had filmed Planet Terror, and Quentin Tarantino had filmed Death Proof, and they released them together in this grindhouse style feature or featurette, kind of like the old throwbacks to the 70s and the late night drive-in and stuff like that. Gratuitous, gory, B-movie type things. And that's what they were doing. But in between the two features, there were 4 fake trailers. Machete, Thanksgiving, Don't, and SS Women, Werewolf Women of the SSR, something like that. It was a Rob Zombie trailer. So far, Machete and Thanksgiving have been made into film. And when I heard Eli Roth, I actually did watch an interview with him, and he said, well, what the original trailer was a movie that was so disturbing, so grotesque, so controversial that all the prints of the movie had been burned. They no longer existed. All that existed was the trailer of the 1980 movie Thanksgiving, which was the fake trailer that he originally made. So this trailer now, not this trailer, but this movie now, is a remake of that trailer. And it does a really good job in most of it. I really do have to totally agree with that. But let's get into it a little bit. So Thanksgiving, it's a rated R movie, but it's a Thanksgiving themed movie. It's fun, it's bloody, it's gory, and it's a mystery of sorts. It's directed by Eli Roth, and a recap of some of his films are Cabin Fever, which there was a time in my life where I watched Cabin Fever and or the commentary every week for over a year. Now, not that Cabin Fever is the best movie ever made, but there was something about the construction of Cabin Fever, and listening and reading and hearing the interviews of how Eli Roth put this movie together, that would inspire any filmmaker. It did me. It made me want to get up, and I did. I went out and I rewrote a horror movie that I had made back in 2004, You Can't Take It With You. I rewrote that in completely script format. It's never been made, but Cabin Fever was somewhat of the inspiration of me rewriting You Can't Take It With You, which there are about 20 copies of You Can't Take It With You floating around in Virginia, maybe one in California. I can't. Terry might have one. She's in Slab City. And actually, I saw the Grindhouse movie with her in. I think it was in Fairfax. She worked at a movie theater there. We went to the midnight showing of that movie, and Thanksgiving was one of the fake trailers. So, Cabin Fever, Hostel 1 and 2, The Green Inferno, Knock Knock, which is a Keanu Reeves movie, which is an interesting movie. I'm not sure if it's still on Netflix. I think it is. Maybe check that out. I said The Green Inferno. He made the Death Wish remake with Bruce Willis back in 2013. And he also made... I wish I'd have wrote that down, but it's something called like A House with a Clock in the Wall or something like that. Something to that effect. It's a Jack Black movie. So Eli Roth is kind of, with the Death Wish and the House with a Clock in the Wall, kind of segued into studio pictures more so, probably so he can get better funding for his movies, make some cash, do a couple of studio pictures because... Knock Knock went straight to Netflix. The Green Inferno didn't make that much money. And Hostel 2 was a financial... it was profitable, but nothing in regards to the first Hostel. So, after Eli Roth got a little bit of clout back after the success of Death Wish and A House with the Clock in the Wall, This Borderlands game adaptation looks to be good from what I've read about it. He had the clout to get Thanksgiving made. And he had so many people reach out and asking, when are you going to get this movie made? Here it is. So, it has an IMDb score of 7.0, which is one of the highest, maybe the highest, in Eli Roth's filmography. It's got an 82% positive Rotten Tomatoes score, which is quite unheard of when it comes to this kind of a slasher movie. We'll get to that a little bit later. This is nothing original in as far as like, you know, the plot points, the characters, things like that. This isn't anything that you haven't seen before in that regard. This is really fun, though. And this has a 78% positive audience score. So that's a pretty high audience score as well. And I only say that because a lot of people have asked me to include those kind of things. So there I have. This has a budget of $15 million, which is, you know, pretty much on par. That's why horror movies can be made so often, because they often have unknown casts. They don't cost a lot, and they have great replay value a lot of the time. And this one's no different. So far, this movie has only made $16.9 million, but it only came out last Thursday. So it's been in theaters a little over a week and a day. And it's already made more money than the Green Inferno, and it's about to surpass, probably after today, will surpass Hostel Part 2 in the box office. Like I said, this was a trailer to the 2007 movie Grindhouse. And I'm not sure, you know, I've not went back and watched Planet Terror in quite some time. I remember when watching it, I did like it a little bit better than Death Proof. I thought the first half of Death Proof really bogs down. It just takes too much time to get to Stuntman Mike in Death Proof. Sorry, it's just the truth. The characters aren't as interesting enough to leading up to that. I digress. So let's get into a little bit, diving in, a little bit of spoiler alert of the plot. Now, I'm not going to give away the killer or killers. I'm not going to give that away at all. What I am going to do is set up the premise of this bloody fun film. There's a store having a Black Friday sale. It's now thinking about it, I can't recall the name of the store. It's called Right Mart, I think. And there's so many people just crowding in. It's like, you know, the crowd that you would see at, you know, the homecoming football game. Just that crowd, all chanting, all cheering. The owner's daughter, some friends sneak in the back of the store, going to get a cell phone. The crowd becomes more irate, and as the crowd is becoming more irate, they start banging on the doors. We want in! We want in! They want in. One of the crowd members grabs the megaphone, yells something in it, everyone starts crashing in. That's the premise. That's not the actual premise, but that's the opening. Now, after this riot, and anything that I'm telling you can't already be seen on Wikipedia or IMDb or in a summary. So I don't want to get any hate mail about me giving away things, because I'm not giving away anything that you probably don't already know. But the fact is, this killer is back. Or not even back, introduced 1 year later. And then this group of teens begin receiving tagged messages on their Instagram account. One by one. And that's all I'm going to say really about the plot. But basically, like I said, after a Black Friday riot, after it ends in tragedy, a very mysterious Thanksgiving-themed murderer, killer, terrorizes those involved with the riot in Plymouth, Massachusetts. My mouth gets a little dry. Now tonight I just have a two small Pure Life waters, and you always need more than two, but I only brought two, I think. And they're only 8 ounces each. Not nearly enough. One day I'll get that right. One day I will get that right. My producer isn't here tonight. She's gone. So I'm manning the ship by myself. But that's all I'm giving away about the plot. The characters, they're pretty much your stock characters. We've seen it in Scream, all the different characters, kind of a whodunit. They give little glimpses of, it could be this person, it could be that person, it could be this person. So you really don't know 100%. And it's kind of like a trope that they use throughout a lot of horror movies. They do it in the Scream franchise. They do it in a lot of Cry Wolf, if anyone has seen that movie. It's the Urban Legend and Urban Legend Final Cut, those type movies. So it does follow that kind of 3-act structure, that trope, but it does it in a fun way. And the characters are pretty much all stock characters. I didn't really care about any of the characters, to be honest with you. But they all did a good job. They all played the roles they were supposed to play the way they were supposed to play them. They make dumb decisions. I heard someone today behind me say, that was a stupid thing to do. But they're supposed to do stupid things. They're supposed to go up instead of going left or down. They're supposed to say who's there instead of just grabbing a weapon and getting out as quickly as possible. But you've got Patrick Dempsey as the sheriff, Gabriel Davenport as Scuba, Rick Hoffman, who is also in Hostel Part 2, as Thomas Wright, Tim Dillon, the podcaster, as Manny, and you've got Gina Gershon and a few faces that you may know that just pop up. But like I said, and Addison Rae, who I hear is maybe a TikTok star. I've heard of the name, but I didn't really know anything about her much until this film, and I didn't really know much about her other than this film. That being said, everyone fills out their roles quite nicely. They do a good job. And, they bring excitement to the characters, even though, leading to the next point, the favorite and least favorite scene. I'm not going to give away anything during this because the movie is still fresh. It's still out right now. So I cannot comment right now on my favorite or least favorite scene. And in some movies I say, I don't really have a least favorite scene. I do have a least favorite scene in this film. The movie could have played well along and take out, maybe, I don't know, maybe this 4 minutes. And my favorite scene is one of the deaths, one of the kills. I laughed. A couple people laughed, I think, but I know we laughed at it. So I won't give that away. We'll just skip that. And if we revisit this in the future, then we'll come back to it. We know when enough time has passed. So that leads us to the score and the music. We've kind of been sampling the score and the music if you're listening on the radio. If you're watching on the live feed, you'll have to go maybe tonight or tomorrow. All this score will be on there as well. The score is, it's really done. It's done by Brandon Roberts. And this actually does have an original motion picture score. We'll take a listen. I mean, it fits the movie perfectly. There's times, and there are jump scares in this movie. I knew when the jump scares were coming, but it's just like you're sitting there and you're like, I know it's coming. I know it's coming soon. Oh, and then you kind of laugh. But it's fun. There's a couple of those, and it's a fun movie. Originality. I'm like I said, it follows certain patterns that you might not know exactly who is going to die, who's going to get killed, but you don't really care in a movie like this. I didn't really care. The characters were kind of stock characters, and they didn't really make me love them. I mean, I wasn't cheering for their death. But it's not that original. It's a slasher film. But it knows it's a slasher film. And Eli Roth knows that we as the audience knows that you're not going to be able to be 100% original in a retelling of a slasher film. And he wanted this movie to be a movie that is going to be like a Thanksgiving tradition among horror enthusiasts. And I'm sure it will be. That's why it was released around Thanksgiving. That's why it's called Thanksgiving. And that's why I'm sure it will be mentioned or played in a lot of households every Thanksgiving from this moment forward. But the score, Brandon Roberts, fantastic. He does a fantastic job. And like we've talked about, score is really something that it's mood, it's feeling. You try watching a movie. I wish you could, I'm sure you could, but just isolate and take out the score as you're watching a film. And just listen to the dialogue. No score at all. And see how much it does actually add, even just a little bit. But yeah, Brandon Roberts, Pilgrim hat off to you. Poster? No, you can go on IMDb or you can just Google Thanksgiving movie poster. There's a couple of different ones. There's one where he's wearing the pilgrim mask, kind of hats down over his face. He's got the bloody axe. That's one poster. There's another. It's kind of like the one sheet that has all the characters on the front. I posted that one on the Other People's Show Facebook page and my own, Ryan Parker. And I like that one a little bit better. I'm sure there's a couple more different posters out there. But those are the two that I chose that I really like. And it gets the movie across. Patrick Dempsey does a good job. He was actually named Sexiest Man Alive right before this movie came out. And everyone in this movie actually does a good job of a Massachusetts accent. And not to put down Massachusetts at all, but I don't think that would be hard to listen to their accent all the time. I really think so. Just my opinion, but there it is. But yeah, that's pretty much Thanksgiving in a nutshell. I do recommend that you go check it out. I think you'll enjoy it. It is a movie you need to be, I guess, 16, 17 years old or up to watch it. It knows what it wants to be. It is what it is. It's a fun experience, enjoyable, and if you enjoy, it's not as stomach churning as some of Hostel or The Green Inferno. I found the Green Inferno very hard to watch. I've only watched it once. I don't know if I could watch it again. But this is a movie that it does have gore, but it's fun. It's funny. So, you should go check that out while it's still in theaters. It's playing now. It'll probably be out a couple more weeks. Next week, I'm going to be doing the movie The Killer. The Michael Fassbender movie. It played in select theaters for about a week or so, and it debuted also on Netflix. That is going to be on the agenda for next Friday, which is December 1st. Can you believe that? Next Friday, December 1st. Got a couple of Christmas movies that we'll probably jump into in December. We're gonna have a lot of fun there, and jump into some brand new show basically coming in January. That's the hope. That's the hope anyway. But thank you for tuning in tonight to Real Talk. Tonight was Thanksgiving. If you want to hear this episode or many, many other episodes, you can go to all of our social media pages: TikTok, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, The Other People's Show. Follow The Dark Place on WAXM website. Go under On Demand, and there are several episodes of The Dark Place, which is a teen killer show. Thank you for tuning in tonight on WLSD, The Vault, and The Other People's Show will be coming up in just a moment.